What's up, guys? It's Celeste, and first of all, I just wanted to note that I went to something really cool last night. It was an event in Orlando. It was called the LGBTQ Town Hall, and it was really awesome. It was basically just a meeting of a bunch of nonprofits in the area that have gotten together and formed this alliance that is meant to serve the LGBTQ community in Orlando. And they basically just invited everybody in the community to come by and just talk about what services and what needs the community has that need to be addressed and things like that. It was really neat. I met some cool people, and I got to hang out with some of the people that I've already met through the trans and gender nonconforming group that I'm in. So I just kind of wanted to note that because it was a really cool experience, and it's part of my sort of ongoing goal of being more involved and everything. The actual topic of this video is kind of a follow-up to a video that I made a couple months ago, which was my social transition goals, where I basically just talked about social transition, aspects of social transition, and the parts of it that I am and I'm not planning to pursue for myself. What happened was I made one video that was all my transition goals, and I made like 3 versions of that, and I scrapped all of them, and then I ended up just making the social one because I felt like covering everything at once was just like way too overwhelming and just too much to cover in one video. So that's why I ended up splitting it up. And then I was gonna make the medical transition one, but I got kind of scared away off the topic a little bit after talking to someone about it in real life, and I kind of just, I don't know, I just kind of like got scared off of it. But I want to address it because, for one thing, it's something that, like I said, I had been planning to talk about, but also I feel like I'm getting closer to addressing it, like not just talking about it. So this was a long kind of winding introduction, but basically, the 2 like main aspects of medical transition. Gosh, I don't know why I'm having so much trouble saying that tonight. Medical transition are surgery and hormones. And I've already talked about that I'm planning to have top surgery. That was like one of the first things that I talked about on this channel. And I'm saving up for that. As far as any other surgeries, it would be awesome to have a hysterectomy. But again, that would be another huge cost and everything, so it's not like a super high priority for me. It would be great if I could get it done for free. I totally would have gotten it done, like when I was, like before I even knew I was trans or anything. Like I would have just gotten it done just because I knew that I wasn't going to be using it, and it's basically just a pain, literally. So as far as any other surgeries, that's pretty much it for what I think that I would ever have. I definitely don't have any intention of getting any kind of external bottom surgery or anything like that. So basically the top surgery is like the one that I'm absolutely having, and then hysterectomy would be like a cool thing. But that's about it. So then hormones are the thing that I haven't really talked about, and that's the thing that I kind of got scared off of talking about because it's kind of a big topic, I guess, and kind of scary to a lot of people. So this video is a lot more informal and less informative than my social transition video was, but just to be super basic, an AFAB person who takes hormones for transition usually is taking testosterone. When I started this channel and when I first like decided that I wanted to have top surgery, at that time there was no part of me that ever thought I would even consider taking testosterone, also known as T, just for short. And I can't actually remember when that started to change, but there was a point when I started thinking about it and like suddenly wasn't totally opposed to the idea. And that's been at least a few months because when I made that original video, I was already at that point. So it must have been at least before November. But that's a really scary topic to talk about. And I think it probably is scary for some people to hear about, especially if they already know me, and the idea of me changing in some way would be just like horrifying or something. But where I am right now is I really feel like I feel pretty sure at this point that I am going to try taking testosterone. So there are a bunch of different effects that tea can have on the body. I'm not going to go through like every single one, but some of the main ones are having your voice drop, having increased muscle mass and body fat redistribution. So you're more likely to have, especially upper body mass, muscle mass, and then body fat kind of shifts around from different areas of your body. There's genital growth, trying to be kind of vague there, but it's just kind of a enlargement of a particular part of the body. Facial features can get a little bit more angular, and especially the jawline can be a little bit more angular. And then obviously increased facial and body hair. So those are kind of the main ones, I think, that that at least I'm going to cover here. There are some other things, like it can affect your energy level, your mood, and I don't know, a bunch of other stuff. So before I get into each of those individually, the way that tea works is there are some effects that appear when the body has been exposed to high amounts of testosterone. And some of those depend on testosterone to be there to continue being there. And then there are others that if the testosterone stops, then they'll still be there. So what that means is that it's actually possible to take testosterone for a limited period of time, and after you stop taking it, some of the effects that you've gotten during the time that you were taking it will stay, and then others will disappear. So for me, part of the thing is that there are certain effects that I really want, and then there are certain ones that I really don't want. And some of the ones that I really want are permanent changes, and some of the ones I really don't want are also permanent changes. So I'll go through the effects, which ones I do and don't want, and then I'll get back to that. Sorry this whole video is like super rambly and stuff, but the main effect, like the number one effect that I want from tea is I want my voice to drop. I don't want to have a like really deep booming bass voice or anything like that, like super masculine voice. I just don't want my voice to be very like always read female. I don't like that. It's not even just that. Like even if there were nobody else around, I don't like the sound of my voice. I feel like it's very weak. When I was little, I'm sure it was kind of like a squeaky voice or something because I was very small, but I felt like I had a strong voice. I felt like I could project really well, and I felt like I had like presence to my voice, which a lot of other people obviously felt because I was constantly told to be quiet. But over time, I lost that, and I do feel like some of that is psychological, that I like forced myself to be more quiet because that's what everybody else wanted, and like now it's hard for me to like psychologically be loud and have a lot of presence and everything, but there definitely is a physical component to it as well. Like I can't be loud, like and it's not even just the volume, it's like the resonance and just the strength of my voice. I just can't do anything with it like I want. It just feels very weak to me. When I talk, I feel weak. So I basically just want it to be like a little bit lower to have more resonance and more strength to it, and just to be somewhat neutral and not have what I feel like is a somewhat high and weak sounding voice. And that is a permanent change. So if I did have my voice drop and then I stopped taking tea, I would still have the voice pretty much at the level that it was when I stopped. I have heard some people say that it can go back up like a little bit, but it's not going to go back up to where it was. So that would be awesome. The number one effect that I definitely really don't want at all is facial and body hair. And unfortunately, that is another permanent change. So the trick for me would be to take tea for a limited period of time and try to manipulate it and try to like time it so that I got the voice drop before I started getting facial hair and stuff. Which, like, there's absolutely no guarantee of that working the way that you want. Like, nobody can really choose the way that that works. It's different for everybody. Like, even people in the same family, it can be totally different. So you can't even just look to your family members and say, well, they did such and such. Like, you just can't look at it that way because, for one thing, everybody is just different between each other, like different genes and everything, even in the same family. But also, like, I've already gone through this whole process as an adolescent female. So my situation now is going to be a lot different than any cis male in my family's was when they were an adolescent male. So you can't just look at that. As far as the other effects that I mentioned, I really would like the muscle mass and fat redistribution aspect of it to some degree. Again, I'm not looking to become like super mask, like whatever, but I don't want to be curvy like I am. And then I would really like to have a stronger jawline. I talked about that a couple of videos ago. That is something that I really haven't gotten a clear answer. That and the muscle and fat redistribution, whether or not it can be permanent. I've heard both. I've heard that that some people it goes away, it like reverses after you stop taking tea, and then other people say that it reversed some, but they kept some of it, and then other people said they have been off tea for 2 years and then they still have the same body type as when they were on tea. So it really just varies a lot. But that would be awesome. But again, that wouldn't be like the main reason I would be taking tea. So, I mean, if it reversed, I wouldn't be happy about that, but I wouldn't feel like it was a wasted experiment, I guess. And then as far as like the bottom growth thing, that's what most people I've seen call it, just like bottom growth or like downstairs growth or something, which, like, I know that sounds kind of like overly euphemistic, but for a lot of people it can be kind of triggering to talk about specific genital parts that if they have like really significant dysphoria about it. So that's why a lot of people just kind of go for the euphemism to not be as triggering to other people. So that's what I'm doing. That, as far as that's concerned, like, I don't really care about that. That's not really probably going to affect me too much. Like, I'm not sexually active, so, that doesn't really matter to me. Like, the idea of it seems kind of weird, but, I mean, it's weird. It feels weird because I feel like it should feel weird. Like, I feel like I should feel weird about it, but I really don't care that much about it. So, and that's another one that is permanent usually. So, again, don't care, so whatever. As far as how I've gotten to this point now of really at this point being pretty sure that I'm going to try it hopefully soon, basically it has just come down to me weighing all these things and like weighing the risks and everything and feeling like the risk is worth it to me. And like, the reason that I got scared off talking about it was because I talked about it with somebody in real life and they weren't like freaked out, like they thought that it was like disgusting or something like that. It was just the idea of me changing very much was like an overwhelming thing for them to take in. And I have to admit that's not something that I really expected that much. I guess it just, it's not necessarily that it was surprising, it's just I wasn't really prepared for how to deal with that or for how to explain why I want to do this, and everything. So that's kind of what I'm trying to cover here. And at this point, like, pretty much the main things that I feel like I worry about with taking tea are mostly about other people. It's mostly not about me. I feel like I have already gotten to the point where I feel like I've accepted what the risks are and stuff. And I feel like if I took tea for a limited period of time and took a low dose of it and you know, monitored it and everything, I don't feel like I would just like suddenly have all these effects that I couldn't deal with. I mean, I feel like I would have some control over what was happening, even if I didn't have enough control to absolutely get the combination of effects that I want. I feel like I would have enough control to stop if I felt like it wasn't going in the direction that I wanted it to go. Because, I mean, I know people that have done that. So it's not like taking tea is like I mean, there are permanent changes, but it's not like you have no control. It's not like a one-time decision. It's something that you ongoing are deciding, you know, to continue or not. So if you liked this video, then give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more of my future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.